Is it okay? Hello, is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So, just in this figure, you can see inner ear or labyrinth. This inner ear is also known as labyrinth, which consists of two compartments, the bony labyrinth and the membranous labyrinth. Now, the bony labyrinth again consists of three parts: the vestibule, which is the central part of the labyrinth, the semicircular canals, and the cochlea. Now, the vestibule in this figure, the two compartments are visible. The greenish is the bony covering of the labyrinth, while the pinkish colors structures are membranous labyrinth. We'll discuss later on. In between two compartments, the perilymph has a fluid present, while in the membranous labyrinth, the fluid is called endolymph. Now we'll see later again. Just about the vestibule. The vestibule is the central part of the bony labyrinth, and it has two walls, the lateral walls and the medial walls. The lateral wall has oval window. You can say the lateral wall of the vestibule is the medial wall of the middle ear cavity. So the lateral wall has oval window, or also called the fenestra vestibuli, and is closed by the footplate of the stapes and surrounded by annular ligaments. The footplate is fixed with annular ligament. Now the medial wall is important wall, and it has different structures like from anterior to posterior. The spherical recess, you can see it very clearly. This is a spherical recess. Is situated anterior and lodges the saccule. Saccule is the part of membranous labyrinth that is placed here. Now posterior to this, you can see one minute. One you can see multiple perforations. Is it clear? Multiple perforations called macula cribrosa media. Macula cribrosa media for the passage of inferior vestibular nerves. The second important structure is elliptical recess, just posterior to the spherical recess. Just posterior to the spherical recess, this recess is called elliptical recess. It is for the lodgement of the eutychils, part of membranous labyrinth. Over this surface also has multiple perforations. Just see multiple perforations for the lodgement of superior vestibular nerves, which supply macula of the eutychils and crista ampulla of the superior and lateral semicircular canals. Now, inferior vestibular nerves supply the macula of the saccule. Macula is the neuroepithelium of eutychil and saccules. So, macula of the saccules and crista ampullaris or ampulla of the posterior semicircular canals receive supply from inferior vestibular nerves. Now, the vestibular crest and cochlear recess, actually in between a spherical and elliptical recess, there is crest-like structures which bifurcated and surrounds the cochlear recess. Just this is the cochlear recess. This point, no, yeah, this one is cochlear recess, which is for the cochlear nerves. So others opening, like opening of aqueduct of vestibule, is very important opening just below the elliptical recess. Just below the elliptical recess, this opening is present through which passes the endolymphatic duct and sac. So now the posterior wall, you can say the posterior wall, better it is posterior wall of the vestibule. Behold, this is superior part, then the posterior, and you can say it inferior also. So posterior superior inferior wall of the vestibule has 5 opening of 3 semicircular canals. You can see all 3 semicircular canals. They open by 5 opening over the superior, posterior, and inferior surface of the vestibules. Now, vestibules opens entirely into the bony cochlea. So here it's clear. Here it's clear that this is anterior part of the vestibule, which opens into the bony cochlea in this figure. Now, about the bony semicircular canal. About the bony semicircular canals. So they are 3 in numbers. The superior, also called anterior, posterior, and lateral semicircular canal. Lateral or horizontal. So 3 semicircular canals are present, and each canal occupies only 2/3 of a circle. Means never complete the circle. You can see in figure. So all these circles are not complete circles. Only 2/3 part is formed by the each canals. Only 2/3 parts. 1/3 is left as it is. Now about the diameter of each semicircular canal is about 0.8 mm. This is important. And they lie in plane right angles to each other. Each canals are at right angles to each other. And each canal has 2 ends, the ampullated and non-ampullated. So all 3 ampullated means ampullated end of superior, posterior, and ampullated end of superior. This is posterior and lateral semicircular canal. This is ampullated end of lateral semicircular canals. So all 3 ampullated ends of 3 semicircular canals opens over the posterior surface of the posterior and superior surface of the vestibules, but the non-ampullated end of posterior and superior semicircular canals merge to form unite together to form the crus comni, and so open by the single common opening. But the non-ampullated end of the lateral semicircular canals, it opens independently. So total 5 openings are of 3 semicircular canals. Now come to next structure of bony. So now about every canals, some details. First, the superior semicircular canals, which is 15 to 20 millimeter long, and the position is transverse to the axis of petrous part of the temporal bone. Now about the lateral semicircular canals, it is 12 to 15 millimeters long and projects as round bulbs in the medial wall of the middle ear cavity, editus and antrum, and make angle about 30 degrees with the horizontal plane. Its ampullated end opens into the upper part of the vestibules, while non-ampullated end opens into the lower part of the vestibules. Now, about the posterior semicircular canal, which is longest among 3, is 18 to 20 mm long and situated parallel and close to the posterior surface of the petrous part of the temporal bone. Lower end is ampullated and open into the lower parts of the vestibule, and upper limb joins the crus comni. The so all three semicircular canal opens into the vestibules by five opening, three ampullated and two non-ampullated. Now about the bony cochlea. The bony cochlea, which appears as coiled tube like a snail. Cochlear canals makes 2.5 to 2.75 tons around a central pyramid of bone called modiolus. The cochlear tube is 30 long. It appears like cone with base 9 millimeters in diameter and 5 millimeters in height from base to apex. Now see in figure, you can see, yeah, in this figure, this bony cochlea, which is coiled tube like structures and look is like a snail. Now you can see this turn about 2.5 to 2.75 around a axis. This is the middle is axis. We'll discuss later in this figure. Now you can see the inside of the bony cochlea and the central part which acts as axis is called modiolus and this and the and this is the outer boundary of the inside of the bony cochlea. You can see a spiral lamina like threads, a bony spiral lamina. You can see, yeah. This cavity like a structure where nerve is present. So this is a spiral bony lamina which runs along the modulus all around, and the cavity of this bony cochlea is divided, but incompletely up to here. This is bony cochlea up to here. This is a spiral lamina up to here. This one, and this is the inner surface of the outer wall. This is inner surface of the outer wall. So this part is actually lodged by the membranous labyrinth, membranous cochlea, और इसको हम लोग बोलते हैं स्केला मेडिया also. Then what happens? The whole cavity, now see, this whole cavity is divided into three parts. The upper cavity or canal-like structure is called scala vestibuli, and lower one scala tympani, which opens into the middle ear cavity through the uh, round window. This opens scala vestibuli in middle ear cavity as oval window, and this part of membranous labyrinth scala media runs separately as a blind tube. Anyway, this scala vestibuli and scala tympani runs around the modulus separately, but at the apex, now here, this is apex, also called humulus, they meet together to form, they meet together, and this site is known as helicotrema. Here, helicotrema is present at the apex, where the scala media and scala tympani, sorry, scala vestibuli and scala tympani meet together. Now, नहीं वो फिगर चाहिए इसमें ये था. Now, you can understand by this figure the arrangement of scala vestibuli, scala tympani, and scala media. Very simple picture. Again, this is cochlea, bony cochlea. The upper chamber is this upper chamber is scala vestibuli. The lower chamber where is scala tympani. Here is round window, here is oval window, and the middle part, which is very clear, is scala media. So this type of arrangement is seen all around inside the bony cochlea. And this now see in these pictures again the same cheese, which is simplified here. Now you can see here very clearly the scala vestibuli upper part and scala tympani is the simplest figure. It is simplest Now you can see here the scala vestibuli and scala tympani, both are meeting here at the apex. That is helicotrema. Helicotrema. And this is the middle chamber, that is cochlear duct or scala media. Cochlear duct is the second name of membranous cochlea or cochlear duct and scala media. All are same. All are same. So this cochlear duct is blind tube. It is blind tube. It is blind tube. But these bony canals are not blind. So fluid inside the cochlear duct is endolymph, and the fluid inside the scala vestibuli and scala tympani is perilymph, which is connected to subarachnoid space through the cochlear aqueduct, which is not now about the now come to modulus. The base of the modulus directed towards the internal acoustic matters. You know the modulus. This is the central part of the inside of the bony cochlea, pillar-like structure, conical structures, and the base of the conical structure, that is modulus, is directed towards the internal acoustic meatus and transmit the vessels and nerves to cochlea. Now, about the osseous spiral lamina, we have already discussed. It's a thin plate of bone called osseous spiral lamina, winds spirally around the modulus like a thread of a screw and gives attachment to basilar membrane of the membranous cochlea. We'll discuss later on, which divides the bony cochlea into three parts. Next, and all these three parts, scala vestibuli, scala tympani, and scala media, we have already discussed. I think it's enough. About the helicotrema and aqueduct of the now the aqueduct of cochlea, the scala tympani is connected to the subarachnoid space through the aqueduct of cochlea. We have discussed it regulates perilymph and pressure in bony labyrinths. Time. Now about the membranous labyrinth. About the membranous labyrinth, which consists of which consists from anterior to posterior figure law. This is anterior of membranous labyrinth, and it is called cochlear duct. Cochlear duct. Cochlear duct, which is connected to saccule by a small opening here. It is called ductus reunions. This is saccule, is separate part, and is connected with the membranous cochlea by ductus reunion. So the first structure is cochlear duct, then the ductus reunions. This is saccule, and saccule is connected with the uticles by uticulosaccular duct. Later on, it forms the endolymphatic duct and sac, and this is uticles, and over the superior and posterior and inferior part of the saccules, there are five opening of the semicircular duct. Semicircular duct. Now you see, we'll see all these structure one by one from above: cochlear duct or membranous cochlea or scala media. Then the ductus reunions, already clear in picture: saccule, endolymphatic duct and sac, utricles, and three semicircular ducts or canal. Now, about the cochlear duct or membranous cochlea or scala media, all are same. This blind coil tube, which appears triangular on cross section, is connected to saccule through ductus reunions. Already clear? It is bounded by three walls. It is bounded by three walls. Just see the figure. It is bounded. This is scala media. This is scala media on cross section. Scala media on cross section. So it is bounded by three wall. The lateral one, which is vascular, so name is stria vascularis. This is the basal. This is the basal lamina, and this one is the Reschner's membrane. Reschner's membrane. Reschner's membrane. So it is triangular in shape on cross sections, and now see this part is a bony spiral. Now you can see very clearly the bony spiral lamina. This is bony spiral lamina through which cochlear nerves passing, and these are hair cells. We'll discuss in details later on. So this simple structure of membranous cochlea or scala media, and above you can see the above chamber is scala vestibuli, scala vestibuli, and below is the scala tympani. Here is scala tympani. Now, now the three walls of the cochlear ducts already seen in picture. First is basilar membranes. It support the organ of Corti. Organ of Corti is the neuroepithelium of the for the hearing. It is neuroepithelium of the cochlea. Second, sorry, its length increases as it proceeds from basal coil to the apical coil. So higher frequency of sounds are heard at the basal coil, while the lower tones are at the apical coils. Now the Reschner's membrane that separates scala media from the scala vestibuli, we already seen in picture. Now the stria vascularis also clear in picture. It contains vascular epithelium for the production of the endolymph. Endolymph is supposed to be produced by the stria vascularis. Now the uticles, which is oblong and irregular, it has anterior slope at an approximate angle 30 degree. It lies in the posterior part of the bony vestibules over elliptical recess and receives the five opening of the semicircular duct. The uticle is connected with the sacule through the uticular duct. It's clear from the picture. Its sensory epithelium, which is called macula or otolith. Macula or otolith. Sensory epithelium of the cochlea is organ of Cortis. Similarly, the sensory epithelium of this uticle and sacule both is are called macula or otolith. But it is horizontal in uticles while vertical in sacules. And this neuroepithelium are stimulated by accelerated or decelerated linear movement. Now come to sacule. It lies anterior to the uticles, opposite the stapes footplate in the bony vestibules. Its sensory epithelium is also called the macula, which lies vertical, and perhaps it is responsible for gravitational linear acceleration and deceleration. Now the semicircular duct, the semicircular ducts, the three semicircular ducts which opens in the uticles corresponds exactly the three bony semicircular canals, and the ampulated end has neuroepithelium, and this neuroepithelium is called crista ampullaris or crista ampullaris. So ampulated end is actually for the neuroepithelium. Okay. Now the endolymphatic duct and sac, the ducts from uticles and sacule united and form uticulosacular duct and sac, which continues as endolymphatic duct that passes through vestibular aqueduct to lie over the posterior surface of the petrous petrous bone in between two layers of dura. The endolymphatic ducts and sacs are involved in the resorption and regulation of the endolymph. So, endolymphatic sac is thought to regulate pressure of membranous labyrinth and is decompressed, drained, or shunt in the Meniere's disease. We'll see Meniere's disease later on. Okay, thank you. Any problem? वो सुनिए नहीं रहा होगा खत्म हो गया लगता है ना?
Kindly give your attendance.